All right.
I think it's bad news for the English game, Trevor. We're not creative enough, Alan. We're not positive enough. Oh, Ed, what's that I hear? It's coming home. It's coming home. Old world's coming home.
Very
It's
good.
coming home. It's coming home.
I join you on that, but as you can hear, my voice is still pretty wrecked. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal stuff. I mean, I've said it already on the channel. I'm going to say it again. Huge congratulations. Really well done by the boys. Super proud. Everyone, pulled the weight fantastically. Really impressive stuff. We're gonna touch on WTC today. Got some fun bits and pieces to talk about, and we're going to talk about some other bits and pieces. Got a hobby update, and yes, there will be. I haven't asked many people yet because I didn't want to bother the team because they're all still traveling back, or a lot of them only got back today. But I'm sure you'll see multiple faces from Team England on the channel over the next month or two. But I do have an interview lined up coming out on Thursday, so you'll have plenty to sink your teeth into sooner rather than later. How have you been, buddy?
I am very well, thank you. I am very well. I very much enjoyed your shorts about the WTC over the course of the weekend. It's actually quite hard to follow the event from here in the UK, so
Sure.
it was really good to get your updates as we were going through. So I could track and live vicariously through the England guys, but no, it was fantastic. Well played to every single one of them. To be the only team that goes 5-0 in what is a very challenging field, they've done really well, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm only 99% sure on this, but did see a detail shared in the England chat earlier. Someone said, never before has England won internationally for fantasy. And that was for ETC. So I don't know if there was previously, but apparently I think the highest they ever got was third at an ETC. So making fantasy history, which is really impressive. We've got Tom in the chat. We went back to 2004. That's pretty impressive. That's when most of the fantasy happened. It's a fantasy game, so you got to go back in time. But yeah, obviously, incredible stuff. Callum didn't watch the shorts because I was living it. Yeah, good stuff. Got plenty of the regulars here in the chat. Good to see Ian. Evening to you. Steck says, happy afternoon to those who celebrate. We're celebrating. Not afternoons, but just England in general. Edward Moore says, oh wow, Justin Timberlake's on the podcast today. That's I'm going to choose to believe that he was being nice and not his normal sardonic, sarcastic self. So
he was 100% being sarcastic.
No, shh. You know what? Here we go. Here's a good segue. Are Lewis going to ban Tom from this chat as well? Do you want to talk about Cathay and bans or the lack thereof?
Yes. So, for anyone that doesn't know, there's been a rumor going around. I don't even know where it started now. It's one of these rumors that just seem to have come from
where every fucking rumor starts on this, Discord. In this chat. It's in the VIP section where they make up spurious rumors about us. Some would say libel.
So this particular instance of libel has been going around to a point where there are people who aren't in the VIP chat picking up on the fact that people are making rumours that I'm banning Cathay from Saffron events, which I want to categorically say now is not happening. I am not banning Cathay from any of my events. I've had people messaging me, some people messaging me in support, plenty of people messaging me saying it's a bad idea. And it sort of came to a head this week where I realised that at least one, if not two, of the teams that are coming to Saffron teams in November were trying to find models for one of their players who only played Cathay.
Oh, so, no.
I was like, no, they're not bad. You can bring Cathay. I obviously will send all the information out as I normally do, but it will be a case of make sure your opponent has a good game. So if that involves slightly fewer balloons than you would expect, please make sure you don't bring as many balloons.
I think also as well at teams, there's slightly less of an emphasis on balloons being a problem because you can bring counters and deliberately pair into them. So I feel a little bit less concerned in a team setting about Cathay. As we saw over the weekend just gone. If you put some restrictions on Cathay and then allow, specific armies to play into them, there's a little bit of wriggle room. There's a whole, 20 feet of wriggle room.
Yeah, they don't immediately 20-0 you, which is nice change. But Teams does give you some play around there. But yes, it has highlighted this week a good general life rule for everyone listening to be aware of. Don't believe what everyone on Facebook, Discord, or TikTok says to you. It's not always true, funnily enough. That applies to life as well.
We got Remy in the chat. Good to have you, Remy, one of my coaching students. Not only congratulations to England, but congratulations as well to the Netherlands, who had a fantastic performance. Ended up 8th overall, which was, I think they were definitely coming in as an underdog. So I'm really, really pleased for all the Team Netherlands who did really well. Someone said,
was it Remy that was on your shorts? Was that
no? So that was Vincent. Remy was in a picture in one of the shorts, but I do coach 2 of Team Netherlands, so I don't want to at all take any credit for their success. They obviously just have good skill and good taste. If you want to be, coached by a world champion coach, who, I also don't want to take really any credit for England. I should on Thursday, because I'm talking to Richie, the captain, we'll talk about what I actually did coaching wise. I really don't want to, any stolen valor or anything like that. But before that, if the sniff of being coached by a world champion coach entices you, sign up to Patreon, and then don't watch the video and be disappointed to see what I did. I think I might even be underselling myself. Who can say?
You can milk this for at least a month, I reckon.
Absolutely. Vesper. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Incredible stuff. Well, thank you so much for your generosity, Vesper. And it goes to Tom. Congratulations, Tom, not only winning, the World Team Championships, but something more important, you receive a month of Close Order membership as well, which, as we all know, is significantly more important and harder to come by. I'm gonna have to keep muting up. I'm coughing. This is pretty. So I've obviously been ill. Apologies for the slower content over the last 2 weeks because I haven't streamed because I'm struggling to talk for long periods of time. Unfortunately, everything I do for work requires me to talk for long periods of time. So I think that's delaying my recovery. Steck says you can now help us with libel in the Discord. That is a fair shout. I will have to.
That's what we need.
Give you the correct role so you can make up rumors about me. That is all that happens in the Discord there.
The lawless place.
Yeah, absolutely. Remy says next goal is WTC Open. Yeah, I know, right? I was talking to Vincent today about that one. So look out, world. Netherlands is coming for first place in I think it's December for the next international event.
Yes.
Steck says remember to tell people to like the video like a good YouTuber. What if I don't tell people to do that, but by mentioning it hope that that influences people to click the thumbs up button? Because truly that is what we are as YouTubers. We're influencers.
We just want likes. We want validation.
Isn't influencer just the most? I don't know. It makes me feel kind of dirty saying out loud. It's not a label I'd apply to myself. Tell you what, people love the peek behind the curtains. So I did a quick tally. I was having a look earlier, and racking up all the shorts. There was about 20,000 views between all the shorts, which is, pretty solid number of views. How much do you think that translates to in shorts revenue? What do you think that adds up to?
£8.
Oh, that would be incredible. That would be like 3 coffees or 2.5 coffees or something. No, it was about
That's
150.
Cheap coffee, to be fair.
It was 150, which is not why I was doing them at all. It's it's not a monetization thing, but I just thought it was really funny. I was like, oh, here's like, so this 20,000 shorts translates to not very much. Thank you very much, Anthony. Appreciate that. Will there ever be a WTC event in Asia, or was there one in the past? I don't know, actually. Asia traditionally has had a lower level of play of tabletop games, or Games Workshop tabletop games anyway. That's my only sphere of knowledge, so I don't know if there is one. But if you if you want to, start getting a team together, get people interested, head out to the next Clash of Nations in wherever it's going to be next summer, next September.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think there was an Asian team at WC this year, was there?
No.
There
But
was
we
the 40K.
didn't even have all of the European teams who had to travel a very short distance, so it's early days. It's early days for Old World.
You've got to start somewhere, haven't you? And as I say, I mean, I think it's the sort of thing where if the desire was there and there was someone that could host and put a really good event together, I'd like to see it move around the world. It would be. I mean, obviously, it's very convenient for us to have it in Europe, but I mean, even for me, that's not there. It's difficult to follow it in its current setup anyway. So, it's sort of like it would be great to see it travel around the world. And I think, at least with 40K, I know like the Chinese team this year in 40K WC did really, really well and had a really strong showing. So, I think, I mean, there's the desire is building in some of these countries that previously, as you say, it may not have had as a bigger level of uptake. And I know from Games Workshop's perspective as well, the current Warhammer World Championships, which they don't currently have Old World 4, but I'm hoping at some point they'll add Old World to it, because they've got Sigmar, they've got 40K, they've got Necromunda, they've got Kill Team. So like I would have thought they would add Old World at some point. That traditionally every single year that they've held that has been in the States. I believe they are looking at moving it to, I think, probably a European venue in the next year or two. It'd be amazing if they could do that. That's not confirmed or anything yet, but that would be really nice to see that moving around the world. And I think they have a long-term vision as a company to start creating big, exciting events all around the world. So they're not just limited to either to English-speaking countries or Europe and the States. And I think that would be amazing for like if you're in an Asian country that doesn't normally get a huge amount of Games Workshop support, for them to bring the World Championships or even just a big Games Workshop Open event to your country. I feel that would generate some interest and some excitement, and that's only a good thing.
What I'm hearing is that we need the old Magic the Gathering system where you had loads of I forget the name of them, but like multiple tiers of competition where you qualify for the next tier up, but just all run by Games Workshop just across the globe. Of course, now it's like, I think they're just all done in America and like the occasional one in Europe somewhere, but yeah something like that would be very cool. Antonio's here from Team Norway. Good to have you, Antonio. Hope you had a good weekend.
Got good representation. Hello.
I know, absolutely. Everyone's here to be like, oh, are they going to talk about my team? Yeah. So also huge thanks, especially to Vincent from Team Netherlands and also Amy from Team Scotland, who sent me a good chunk of footage alongside all of the chaps from Team England who did send me some footage. Big shout out to Charlie, who was really on the ball. He was recording recording pairings and stuff. So nice. One of the shorts was pairings, but I made sure to not put audio in, I think. Either that or it was the last pairing, I can't remember, so I didn't mind putting up. I think there was no audio, because who can say? Who can say? I don't remember how things went. That was a whole 2 days ago. My brain is cooked. I'm very ill.
It would be really interesting, now it's over, to get the input of some of the players. I'm assuming it's similar to 40K, where they probably had an individual or one or two individuals in each team that was responsible for the pairings.
Yeah.
To kind of get a bit of insight from a couple of different teams as to how they went about pairing. Mm-hmm. Because really, this in Old World, this is the first big teams event, isn't it? I know they had a couple of like Clash of Nations and things like that, but this is the kind of big one that everyone's looking at. Actually, to see how do you pair in the 1.5 meta?
Yeah.
How have you built your lists? How do all of the 8 come together? And what does that look like as an overall pairing strategy? I think that would be really interesting videos to do, Ed, if you can get enough of them to interview with you.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. Tom says, sorry, didn't even send you a sausage. It's okay. You were busy doing the pairings, so I think you're forgiven. You were very busy.
Winning.
Because I had, on one screen, I was sat at home painting. On one screen, I had the new recruit page that auto refreshes, and on the other screen, I had WhatsApp on my PC just like open, watching for updates. And like the round would be over, or like Tom's game would be finished. He's like, I've gone to my room. I'm gonna, I'm going for 20 minutes, and then I'm back down. I'm practicing pairings. It was very full on. So you're allowed to to not have needed to send me anything. Also,
I mean, it looks like a huge amount of work for the England guys. I'm sure everyone put lots of work in, but for the Team England guys in particular, there's been a huge amount of practice, effort, and work gone into that. So
yeah, I don't want to talk about other teams because I don't know what all the other teams do, but I would not be surprised if England was not the one that was most prepared. There was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes.
Did England bring many people sort of around the team?
Yeah, two non-players who went.
Now, but two other players,
two non-players,
non-playing players. Yeah, you know what I mean. Coaches,
not players at all. Yes, yeah. Tom says he slept 3 hours that weekend. Fantastic.
Oh, wow,
hopefully caught up on the Sunday. Remy says maybe we should do a WTC Open at some point with Team Ed, all students. I think that's a great idea. It would feel a little unfair, to have just locked in first place ahead of time. Good evening.
Someone's going to bring you down one day, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well. We should talk about some concrete stuff. Before we go back to WTC, let's have a quick hobby update because one of us is going to an event next weekend, and then both of us are going to the same event the weekend after. So I'm just back-to-back weekends at the TSN Arena, which is, something I'm pretty jazzed about. Always happy to go there. And this weekend coming up, I have got a foray event, which is 500 points. And you may have seen the video that I put up where I was talking about how 500 points feels like a little bit more of a casual event. So I didn't want to go in just with the most cutthroat list I could. I wanted to limit myself in some way. And that's why you can see 6 Centaurs on your screen, 5 of which are Centaurs and 1 of which is the Warhoof. Now, the Warhoof is pretty damn good. Like, it's still drunk, so you've got a 1 in 3 chance that it doesn't quite act the way that you want it to. But
1 in 3, Jesus.
It's not as bad as it sounds. If you roll a 1 on the d6, you have random move d6 plus 2, which is terrible. Your movement is 8, so that's bad. And if you roll a 6, you're frenzied. I think I'm probably going to want to get that into combat as soon as possible because it's movement 8 with Swift Stride. I've kitted it out. I think I gave it the full plate, if I remember correctly. Right. Full plate Chaos Armor. So with a shield, it's got like a 3-up save against shooting. It's got a 5-up ward save. Strength 5 natively with a great weapon. It's got 4 attacks. It's just got a lot of good stuff on there. Like the stat line for 75 points, I'm like, oh, that's pretty decent. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was going to say that's going to do some work when that goes in.
Yeah, I hope so. So Pip says, I don't want to see the models, Ed. I want to see the box they're going in. Show us the bucket of gravel. So comments like this, not to single you out at all, Pip. I'm really trying to make this army look nice because fuck you all. I'm sick of the abuse I get online.
A proper box for all of us. Put the models in some foam at least. Or some bubble wrap. Wrap them in bubble wrap.
No, I put them in boxes and I magnetize the box at the bottom of the box. Like it's not
fine. Do that.
Yeah, it is fine. But people look at it and go, "Oh, he's just chucked them in." It's fine. They're magnetized anyway. Whatever. Bunch of knobheads.
Bunch of nerds.
Yeah. You, the viewers, bunch of knobheads. Specifically, the ones commenting and engaging with me. Anyway, so I decided that I wanted to do them. I wanted a recipe that was easy because I'm planning on doing Beastmen for next weekend as well. So I need to put a bit more. I need to get them done pretty quickly. But yeah, so I decided I wanted to paint them like corn demons. Basically, I thought that was a fun challenge. So this is sort of like obviously no base, but this is what they're going to look like. The battle ready standard, which I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, that's nice, Ed. That's really nice.
Yeah, obviously the basing hasn't been done yet, Steve. Dickhead.
No, they come together really well. I think the 2 different shades of red for the we call that hair and skin. I think that looks really good.
The technical terminology. But thank you, Tom. Yeah, those eyes are 5 steps, which is way more than I'd normally bother with. But the eyes on the Razor Gore are quite big, so I was like, yeah, let's at least put some effort in and do like 3 shades of yellow and a bit of white, bit of black, or is it 2 shades of yellow? Something along those lines. Oh,
Yeah, looks
people
pretty
being
good.
nice. Oil wash. Now is the time. I will do an oil wash army. This isn't the one. I want them to be like a quite bright, vivid red. But I think the next
Yeah.
army I might have to look into oil washes depending on what I do. When I go over to the dark side and do Cathay.
Yeah, I get like it would be quite cool. I don't think I've seen like a really dirty cafe scheme yet.
Mm.
I've gone really
Well, they
bright
haven't
with
been
mine.
around for long enough. They're a very new
Yeah,
army, so they haven't had time to get dirty.
they've not had a chance
Yeah,
to sit
absolutely.
in your box full of gravel and get smashed up yet.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Doomball not going to be in this army because it's too many points, but also just the Minotaur kit, the Ogroids, I think they're called, from Age of Sigmar. I really like. So this will be a
Oh yeah, we
general at
like
some
them, yeah.
point. Big fan of this model here.
He's got the same afro as his has his piggy friend.
Yeah.
Not Mohawk as his piggy friend.
And then I had a bit of yellowy orange on the spines of the Dragon Ogre, which didn't show up in the first picture I took, so I thought I'd add a little bit more. Am I using paint pens for stuff like the pupils? I should do. More paint on my hand than on the model. You have to be a bit more precise. Very good, very good. No, that's from dry brushing. That's funnily enough.
But that comes
why
out
use
really
a palette
nicely,
when you can
mate.
just use your hand? Oh, thank you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. You're the skin on that. It's come out so well because you've got the wash into the recesses really nicely, and it's not gone like that kind of weird shiny effect you sometimes get. But then just with that's all just done with dry brushing, is it?
So this is a couple of blending some contrast and then some dry brushing. Just some.
No,
some
it's
quick
come
and
out
easy.
really nicely, mate.
Yeah.
No, it's really good.
I used to be able to paint really well. I just haven't for a long time.
Yeah.
Was the problem. I hold on. In the background, I'll pull up the picture that.
See, I always struggle with skin. Skin is something I just generally struggle to get like the shading right.
Yeah.
I can never quite get the light and the dark in the right places, but you've nailed that really well, mate.
Yeah. Thank you. Just pull up here. So I painted back before I became a terrible army painter in terms of like knocking out armies in a week.
Bashing out armies, yeah.
Yeah. Back in Dare when I had time to spend loads of time. I'd spend a whole month painting 500 points for like an escalation league, which I am planning on doing an escalation league next year. So that'll be something to get round to. But yeah, just trying to fucking find the picture. Oh, well, I might have to come back to it and then just like flash it up halfway through. Whatever works.
Yeah, you've just flashed us in a bit, yeah.
Shut up. It says you can't paint, but I've seen that. That's nice of Callum. Callum's being suspiciously nice to me, and I'm not sure. Yeah,
there's a Discord question waiting for us, Ed.
I appreciate it. Like, it's really nice. It's a really nice change of pace. I'm just suspicious, and I apologize for my suspicion, but I definitely am suspicious. He'll in response to this, I'm sure, be like, "Oh, well, you're a dickhead, then, aren't you?" And then it'll all, everything will feel right in the world again. That's what it needs. That's what I need to be. Here we go. I did while chuntering along. Did manage to get
You found it.
the picture there. Yeah, this is a demon prince that I painted. It's I did an army which was Thousand Suns and Demons back in Dare. And it's the only time I've sold Warhammer for a profit. Now, if you factor in the time and the cost of the paints, it was not a profit, but it was a profit on the base models, which was nice. I did a Demon Prince. I think it's the only time I've ever painted skin and been happy with it.
Yeah, that looks really nice, mate.
And I wish I could remember how I did it, because I'd love to have painted my army like this. Can't remember for the life of me.
Oh, I have a recipe book. I have like just a lined exercise book that I have every single paint scheme I've ever done written down in. That means I should be able to go back to stuff in the future.
Yeah.
If they don't change the paints.
Yeah.
Which Games Workshop tend to like to do, which is slightly annoying.
A lot of the time they
paint
just rename them, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. You have to go for one of them paint conversion charts to find out which is the actual one you're supposed to look at.
Yeah. It'll be for legal reasons, I'm sure. Making sure that they don't they can copyright. What do we got here? Flesh Terror's Red. That feels pretty copyrightable. Etc. Etc. But yeah, lovely stuff. Cam says he's too tired to troll. That's fair. I respect it. I hope you had a good weekend as well. Didn't really hear much from you because I think you were too busy going to time every round.
Slowing everyone down.
Well, I think he might have had to argue some rules that maybe his opponents got wrong. I was only getting half updates,
Half stories.
but yeah. Anyway, good stuff there. Congratulations to everyone at WTC, and hopefully I will be in attendance for maybe the next one. Even if I don't, go to play, just going to actually be at it would be cool. So, I reckon the next thing we should do is we should have a quick look at. Tell you what, let's have a look at the WTC list that you picked out, because obviously I've been following it a lot more closely. I thought it'd be fun to get Lewis involved in it by saying, hey, why don't you pick out some lists that you think are interesting? We can have a quick look at them and talk about why we think they might or might not have worked well in certain respects. So, in the order that you gave me them, I've got the Skaven one here first, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely. Yes. So obviously Ed is going to do loads of really nice, high quality content with really good players about all the best stuff. So I went diving through the WTC lists to try and find the waifs and strays that look like they're doing something a little bit different, or something that we may not have expected to see at an international event, just to see what those lists look like, and how they might have played, and then I guess, is that something that might translate into singles or might say something wider about future? But I wanted to start with the Skaven because you never see them anywhere. Everyone says they're really, really bad, but 3 teams did take Skaven to the WCC, which is really cool. All of the lists did look quite similar.
Yeah,
they're effectively a bunch of characters, usually with similar upgrades and sort of loadouts, a couple of big units of clan rats, and then like one massive unit of storm vermin.
Yeah.
And then they would have things to taste, like some of them took some of the guns and others took like big rats and stuff like that. So I've chosen the Norwegian Skaven list. Turge, I think that's his, you told me how to pronounce it and I've forgotten.
Did I tell you how to pronounce it?
Yeah, go for it.
No, I don't know. I don't know why you're making up lies about me. Thank you so much.
Well, I thought it was Turge, but you said Turge. But anyway, it's a great list. That's not the point. His name is not the point. He's a legend. Starting with the Grey Seer, level 3 caster with Lore Familiar and Demonology, so he's obviously picking his spells.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Demonic Vigor for the buffs to movement attacks, Demonic Vassal for the other buff. Other way around, whatever way around.
Steed of Shadows.
And maybe Steed of Shadows as well, yeah?
Yeah, those are the easy 3 to pick.
Yeah, so that's quite cool. Obviously, that's going in with the Storm Vermin. He's got Warlord with the Fellblade, which is like my favourite weapon because you don't get any saves against it whatsoever, and it does D3 damage, and it's strength +3. But you might just die.
It's so
just
funny.
Every turn,
before you get to combat, your general can die. Although I guess in this one, the Grey Seer is the general, which makes sense because you don't want the Fellblade to kill yourself. Yeah, it just has a chance of doing a wound to you before you get to combat, which is so funny. Every turn.
No, absolutely. He's then got Chieftain with a Storm Banner, which is the once per game turn off fly. Then just a stock Chieftain. Not entirely sure what that Chieftain's achieving, maybe soaking up a challenge or something.
Yeah.
And then
but
Warlock
also,
Engineer with the Ruby Ring.
The way that it works is Skaven can retire. Now for WTC, they ruled that you can't fill the gap once you've retired. But with Skaven, you can make your attacks at initiative, then retire backwards, so you can't be hit. You can't be swung back at. So all the attacks go into the Storm Vermin. So just having chieftains with high initiative with halberds at the front of the unit, so that it can do attacks and then go to the back. Very strong.
Nice, cool, excellent. And the Warlock Engineer, the Ruby Ring. Then we've got the big unit Storm Vermin, 32 Storm Vermin with the Grand Banner of Superiority, which is the D3 combat res, I believe, and a little rattling gun in there as well. It's then finished off 2 units of Clan Rats, again with rattling guns, a big unit of Giant Rats, a unit of Rat Swarms, and 9 Warplock Jezzails. At the Saffron Slam before last, I played against Nick Boucher, who'd brought his Skaven, and he had that big unit of Storm Vermin. And nothing kills it. You just bounce off it. And then it just grinds you down. It grinds undead down quite happily with all that extra combat res.
Sure.
And between all those characters, with Demonic Vigor and Demonic Vassal, there is just so much output from that unit that it will munch its way through. I would like to see what happens when this goes into Graveguard. I dodged it with Nick. I ran away from it, but I would, if it got the charge, I think there's a chance it kills a Graveguard unit. At least properly damages one to a point where it's not very useful anymore.
There's a lot of combat res in there, and a lot of attacks.
And I mean, it is putting 1,000 points of your army to try and do that, but I think it's quite cool.
If they're going to Death Star, I'm going to Death Star.
Undead matchup, if you can break it and get through it.
Tom says it blends Graveguard.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Good. That was kind of what my read of it was. Obviously, I haven't seen Turjay play, so I don't know how he's using it. But if that's going into Undead, I wouldn't want to be putting any of my Undead blocks into that. I think even something like the Blood Knights, if you get a flank off, maybe you're doing all right. But I think the Fellblade just picks up a couple of Blood Knights quite happily, and suddenly you're all starting to struggle in that combat. So yeah, interesting. I like it. I think there's something here that works wider than just WTC. I think that's a list that would work.
I think if you're looking at this and you want to adapt to singles, this is the version that has the most play. So I do want to shout out Anubis as well, who, as far as I'm aware, came up with this list archetype and has been playing this sort of list for a while, and has a very similar actual battle points to Turjay. We're definitely butchering that, I'm so sorry. But got 1 win, 1 loss, and 3 draws, and his list was more focused around, I guess, playing Denial. It didn't have all the Rattling guns, whereas this version of the list does have, 9 Jezzails, triple Rattling gun. It actually has pressure. You can squeeze out, probably not necessarily big wins, but you can pick off enough points that you can get reasonable wins, especially with the Warlock Engineer there with the Ruby Ring of Ruin. I like it. I think this is a really fun list. I'm a big fan. And it does make me want to put Skaven on the table, which
I'll say, think you could take this to a GT and win with it?
No.
Minus Cathay?
Probably still no.
Well, because I think in Undead, against the Undead matchup, which in theory would be a hard one if Cathay wasn't existing, I think this beats it.
What, Cathay without balloons, you mean?
So if you just ignore Cathay, for example, because I know they'll just crush everything, but if you take Cathay out, Undead become very strong alongside the Bretonnians, I guess. But I think into the Undead matchup, I don't think you're that worried if you're the Skaven player in this, because you can out-bully them off objectives. And that's their kind of big way, isn't it?
Potentially. I think this is... I don't want to, shit on Skaven here, but I think the hype might be a little too high. This is a focused list that has been built to do a certain thing in teams, and I think it does that thing pretty well. I still don't think that it guarantees wins into Undead. Like, if I look at this and I go, ooh, I don't love being screamed to death, for example. Sure, they've got 32 bodies in that Storm Vermin, but if you deny them the ability to get in, or like if you dispel their key spells like Demonic Vessel, I think it probably takes quite a while to get through the big bunkers of Undead, especially if you just put zombies in front of them. You're like, I don't want you to kill my Graveguard. Hey, deal with 40 zombies first. And sure, you get that in 1 or 2 turns, but then the Graveguard get into you when you're not buffed. They get to attack first, potentially. I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's probably the Skaven list with the most play, but it's still Skaven. Yeah. So
still struggles.
There's a lot in chat about how I've banned Skaven from discussion, which is very funny because there were a few people who kept suggesting that I play Skaven, so I thought it'd be really funny to just ban all words related to Skaven, which I do need to delete. It was only really ever done for a bit, and then I forgot about it, so it's now a week on. But yeah, it was really funny because people were like trying to find ways around the censor. I was like, oh, Ratmen. Well, we'll put Ratmen into the censor. So yeah, the VIP section specifically, just one channel, the VIP lobby was Skaven were a banned topic, which I don't know if it came across as a joke, but I thought was absolutely hilarious. I was having a great time. Brought me a lot of joy.
You've been banned from this Discord.
Not from the Discord, just specifically from talking about Skaven in one single channel. That rat bastard! I wasn't aware of this horrific racism. You're in the channel, mate. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, he was in the channel until he banned him because he can't even post his name. Look, it's got rat in it.
Jack's here. Skaven will win a GT in the UK in 1.5. Yeah, probably. But it won't be me.
Hell
It'll be
yeah.
you. Like, have you put down the Bretonians? You've decided that you're going to play with Skaven again? Is that what we're hearing?
Sounds like it.
Trying to find ways around it. Steck says I found a new way every time. And I added a few of them to the ban list. But yeah, I am going to remove those because it was all just for bants. Just for bants. Mouse lads, I'll let that one from Callum. Perfect. There's been a 5-game event Skaven win already in 1.5.
Oh, happy days. That was remarkably prescient from Morpheus there.
Was it in the UK though? Was it all Skaven? I'm just loading up old world rankings in the background so we can.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll have a look at my next one was going to be a vampire counts list.
Sure.
Because it wouldn't be me if I didn't comment on a vampire counts list, and people will be thinking, "Well, you said you were going to do something weird." And I have chose something weird. 15 players chose vampire counts over the course of WTC.
Sure.
So that's like the vast majority of teams, and basically near all but one of them went for the Mortis engine, which actually incidentally on my notes here has autocorrected itself to the Morris engine. The Morris engine,
the
Banshee,
Yorkshire version.
the Yorkshire, it just dances around a pole.
I want to see someone do a conversion, which is just like 2 banshees flying around a pole with ribbons.
Oh, I might have to just drop Cathay for a bit and make that. Yes, the Morris engine, the Banshees, and a big block of Graveguard. And then basically, once everyone's got that core, that leaves a couple of 100 points to tech into something kind of to taste after that. Some people went down the double Terrorgeist route. Some people went for a big unit of Blood Knights. And then obviously a number of lists with double Hex Wraith, which I thought was interesting. I'm assuming potentially is that a balloon counter, the Hex Wraiths? Or
Hex Wraiths are very good into a variety of armies. I want to say that Charlie pioneered the Hex Wraith tech. I don't know if that's true, but I'm just going to assume it is. If something's good about undead and about vampire counts, I'm just going to assume that it's Charlie's fault. The man's a machine. Like, did you see how many points he got over the course of the weekend? I think he was 88. I think he came third over the course of the weekend.
That's
What a beast.
an unacceptable amount of points. But yeah, so I thought I'd choose Robin's list from Hungary, Robin Duesberg. He is the only the vampire camp player to not bring any Graveguard. So kudos to him. He does have the Mortis engine Banshee combo though, so he's not like entirely holier than thou.
Yeah.
But it's the classic Mortis engine, spell familiar, Scepter Denaro, level 4 Talisman Protection. So he's got 5 spells. He can resurrect units twice, and he's got the 5 ward save. Then he's got level 3 Necromancer. Again, spell familiar for the extra spell. Skull Staff for the wider dispel and +1 to dispel, and the Cloak of Mists and Shadows. So he's all flyy and ethereally.
Sure.
Which is cool. 2 Banshees.
Which honestly, that's bold. Making your general ethereal so it can't join a unit. That is very bold. I respect that.
Really
it went well.
It's not getting caught.
Yeah.
Because he will just die to it. You don't have making him ethereal doesn't actually protect him from anything other than shooting, because he just in combat he just dies immediately to combat res.
Sure.
So yeah, 2 Banshees as well for the extra screams, and then I like the choice, the Vampire Thrall, Battle Standard Bearer. The key choice there, for anyone that doesn't realise, you'll see a lot of White King BSBs on foot in with the Graveguard. But if you're not taking the Graveguard, that does free up your BSB to be on horse. You obviously don't want it to be a White King BSB because he can only take the Skeletal Steed, which does not have countercharge. So you would lose countercharge if you want to put it in, say, a big unit of Blood Knights, for example. So to take the little basic vampire with the BSB on the right horse, which is cool. He's not given the BSB a banner, so it's just a BSB for the extra combat res. He has taken Lord of the Knights.
But also the leadership reroll that undead get, which is like
it gets the leadership reroll, and the combat res, which is amazing. And he's taken the vampire power that allows him to bring back bats and dogs from the dead, and he can do that even in combat, which is quite cool. He's then got his core is 2 units of 10 Crypt Ghouls, 2 units of Direwolf with champions, which is that's a Lewis recommended special there to give champions to your Direwolves because it makes them really annoying to deal with.
But only if they're a big enough unit size, otherwise they just crumble to dust.
Exactly. Although that has obviously changed a lot in 1.5. I don't think you need to go 8 anymore. I think 5 is fine again because assuming your bloke on the dragon has only got a couple of attacks, then you're probably in decent place. But maybe 8 is still. I'm still sticking with 10 just to give myself safety. But yeah, I think it's worth doing. And then 3 units of 20 zombies, so big loads of zombies, 3 Fellbats, and then he's got a big unit of 8 Blood Knights with the Drakenhof banner. So it's the Blood Knights running around with the 5-up regen, drilled, and then some magic resist from the Obsidian Lodestone.
They're flammable. The Blood Knights, aren't they? Which is one of the reasons that, you know, the early on debate of Blood Knights or Graveguard with Drakenhof banner very quickly just became Graveguard, and then 1.5 changed scoring, and it was just double the reason to go Graveguard. But yeah, this is really cool. This is as you say, a non-Graveguard list. I think it's one that I highlighted because, you know, it's great. It's got different stuff, and it's still won every round. Not like the biggest push scores, but just very consistently getting a solid victory, and you know, I respect that. It's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you're right on the Drakenhof banner. I don't think it's necessary on Blood Knights because, to be honest, you're at a point where if they're getting through a 2-up save, a 6-up or a 5-up's probably not going to help you that much. So you could, if I was going to do it, I'd potentially think about swapping the Drakenhof banner out. I would be giving the Blood Knights the Castellan, the Terror Course thing, because there's just so many times where that just is so clutch that you cause terror. That's really helpful. And maybe swapping the banner out. You could just put it for the war banner to boost your combat res. Or
I mean, you could put that on your BSB if you really want an additional. Yeah, rampaging banner on the BSB would be nice, but yeah, I like it. I think it's fun.
It's a really cool list. I wanted to highlight it just because it looks just. I mean, obviously it's undead, so it's still gonna have lots of big tough units to get through. But it's nice to see someone doing something a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, just to quickly catch up and chat. Thank you again, Voltron, for rejoining. Good to have you, Richie. Congratulations. I'm not going to say congratulations again. We've done your, we've waxed lyrical about the praises for England. I've done that now. Richie. We don't have to do it again. And Pip says he found Drakenhof really good in Blood Knights. That makes sense. I think the thing that really changes whether or not it's good on Blood Knights from pre 1.5 is fire magic is no longer very good into them because Fireball's never been great into them with their 2-up armor save. It's harder to bring fire magic and Plague of Rust. Plague of Rust elementalism, I think, is a law that people take a little bit less because of higher casting values, but also Pillar of Fire, the one that might have killed you because of all that AP2, just it's dead. Yeah, there we go. Great minds think alike. Pip says at exactly the same time. So, it's... I can see more use for it. The problem is not that Blood Knights are bad. It's that Graveguard are so good. So, it's... maybe there's a world where you try some hand weapon shield Graveguard and put the Drakenhof banner onto the Blood Knights. Not if you want to be the most objectively competitive, but just if you want to try something different. I think there's enough wriggle room with vampire counts that you can win GTs with. By doing some different stuff, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't personally thought of having the vampire and the nightmare to follow the Blood Knights around. I really like that as a choice because I normally, when it's me, my second necromancer is running around on a horse behind the Blood Knights to buff them and res them. Yeah. And actually, if you have the vampire in the unit, then they get their extra combat res, which is really, really nice. So potentially, do you need the resing as much? Maybe you do, but the Drakenhof banner means you don't need as much resing potentially. Although again, the second necromancer with the cloak of mist and shadows, although it's his general, so I probably wouldn't be that bold with it. But in theory, that would be fast enough to probably keep up with the Blood Knights. So you could have that kind of flying around. And yeah, it's tricky because I tend to run my Graveguard with hand weapon shield and Drakenhof. I just love the 3-up save. It's so good. Because we've had that discussion already, but that's where I tend to sit with it. And then my Blood Knights don't tend to have a banner, but it's mostly because the Blood Knights they're already so expensive. So 50 points of banner on a unit that's already coming on 500 points anyway. So you are really, all your eggs are going into that one basket at that point.
Sure.
So although you'd argue putting Drakenhof banner makes that basket more resilient. So I can see pros and cons.
Yeah. Well, it obviously worked out for Robin there, which is good.
Indeed it did.
Anubis is here. And you've missed you must have missed the shout out. We were talking about Skaven lists. Speaking of, let's have a look at the Skaven list that did well in the UK, that won our 5-round GT. Are we talking? It can't be this one. Hold on. If we go back to this one here, what are we talking? Harrison Shaw won the Shattered Realms, Violence in Varenka Hills. Let's have a look here. What's this list? It doesn't go onto screen very well, but I can tell you that it is another Storm Vermin list. It is using Renegade rules, so it's got double Hellpit Abomination, but actual Hellbits.
Nice.
Only a single unit of Clan Rats, because you don't actually have to take them. 48 Storm Vermin. And then Warlord Greyseer.
48.
The Greyseer is on a Screaming Bell that goes into the unit, so significantly different to the WTC list, because if we're doing Renegade stuff there, I see. Still got the Storm Banner in there as well.
Morpheus in the chat. Renegade Skaven is playing Skaven in easy mode.
The man puts his money where his mouth is. TSN Arena allows you to use Renegade rules. He went and he won an event using Skaven, but without the Renegade rules.
Nice.
Which, it's either genius or illness. And
Insanity.
Genius is a fine line, on the other side of illness. Who can say which is which? Who can say? But fantastic stuff. Let's have a look at the last list as well, which is the only Cathay list that didn't have any balloons.
Exactly. So basically, everyone that brought Cathay brought 2 balloons. Most people brought 2 characters. Some people brought a character and a normal balloon. So I wanted to have a look at this list. Mostly because I am sort of living in that dream world where Games Workshop are going to come out and magically balance Cathay for us and give those balloons a bit of a nerf bat situation. So I wondered if this list from Katona from Hungary would give us a flavour for what this kind of post-balloon apocalyptic world would look like for the Cathay faction. And you have told me how this particular list performed, so I don't know how valuable this is going to be, but I wanted to see what a Cathay list would look like without balloons in it. She's got 2 Shugungans, which seems pretty standard even in the lists with the balloons. One's got Dragonfire Pistol, level 3 with high magic, and the Alchemist's Mask, so you can cast Plague of Rust as well. The second one is a level 4 with a Jade Blade, which obviously gives a regen and is a decent weapon, and the extra spell from the learned Feng Shi Bow. That's the extent of the characters. So we then go on to 2 units of Jade Lancers. One unit seems very much there to counter wizards. It's got the Dragon's Eye banner, so it just nopes spells on 3+ to target them.
Sure.
And has the Maw Shard as well. So any wizards, I think, within 18 inches miscast on any double.
Yeah, which is pretty punishing.
So that you could just lump that right into the middle and just be annoying for everyone. So if someone's chucking in loads of Vile Tides or something like that, you're just going to massively increase the chance they're going to start blowing themselves up, which is really cool. 2 Grand Cannons. One of them's got an Ogre Loader, one of them doesn't. I'm feeling like I always just find the points for the Ogre Loader, but we are where we are. Jade Sentinel for spells, and a Granite Sentinel for the additional armor.
I did just double down, go double Jade Sentinel.
Double Jade, yeah? You think so?
Yeah. Like, if you're going for it, Jade's the... Now, it's been a hot second since I've looked at Cathay, because honestly, I find list building them pretty dull. But I'm pretty sure the Jade's the one that casts spells. Yeah. So, yeah, like, if you're doing it, I think double casting spells is probably the way to go. I like it. I'd love to know what the premise for this list was, whether there was sort of...
what is it trying to achieve?
Yeah, whether there was, like, a specific thing that Alex was going for. Amy in chat says Alex's Cathay was so well painted, which is a hell of a compliment if you've seen Amy's models. Jade's so fragile for the points is the problem. Yeah. I'd probably end up taking the ward save every game, and at that point, I guess you have to ask yourself, is it better to go Oaken Shield and have a 5-up ward that you can fail to cast or get dispelled, or just the slightly better armor save and immune to multiple wounds? Armor, yeah. I don't feel like that's particularly tanky.
Marble.
Oh yeah.
No, actually, no. I'm going to paint mine sandstone style. So I'm going to switch it out and see what it looks like.
He was using it for Fireball the Mad Lad. I love that. I love that.
Brilliant.
Sometimes you just wake up and you're like, you know what? Violence. I just want to cast more spells. Yeah. I mean, we've got, potentially a lot of magic missiles coming out of that list, so I respect it.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's a Cathay list that I don't think this breaks the game. I think if this was the standard
well,
Cathay
this is obviously what they've been playtesting.
Yeah.
I do not want this to turn into a conversation about balloons, because that's probably a topic for another day, maybe a video that I should make in the not too distant future. But someone recommended that they just don't allow you to put characters on top of balloons, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't even think about that. I wonder if that would just not solve the problem. They're still oppressively good, but it makes them, in terms of tournament play, they no longer just have auto wins, because things that can shoot them will shoot them down pretty well. So I wonder if that would be an answer in the short term that Games Workshop could do, and just say, you can still have the balloons. You can still have, balloons in rare, but you can't have them on characters.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, I like it. I think this is cool. I would like to see some more Jade Warriors in there, but I think it shows you, it fills up very quickly, those points for some of these units. They are expensive. Because you actually look, there's not a lot in that list, really. What's that? 2 characters, 2 kind of big units of horses, and then the two sentinels with the cannons. It's not... You're not holding ground very well here, are you? That's not going to sit you on objectives and capture them.
Sure.
You've got to go out and you've got to do some damage very, very quickly, or you're just going to get outscored. So it's really interesting to see this style. I say I'm painting a lot of Jade Warriors at the moment, so I'm kind of going more down the infantry route. But this is, I like it. It's just something very different. I think nice to see something different to the rest of the lists, which is cool.
Yeah. And even though it didn't, necessarily work out, doesn't mean that I don't appreciate seeing someone trying something different on a world stage. Someone did say, I can't remember who it was, actually. Someone was giving kudos to Scott. Shout out to Scott, a Tomb King player, as the only royal host player at the event, and obviously did very well with it. So, it's nice to see people bringing stuff that they wouldn't necessarily... isn't the sort of generic that you'll see everyone else bringing. When they've got some secrets that they've managed to build up quietly. All right, well... I reckon for now that'll do for Cathay. Let's go on to talking about the upcoming Arcane Journal. This isn't going to be necessarily a long segment. We can just have a quick bit of speculation about it. Super fun that we're going to be getting more rules. Apologies for the crop. I'm not going to fix it. We don't actually need to really see much. You can just vaguely see what was going on here. But new Arcane Journal, War for Cetra's Fury, which is 2 armies of infamy, renegade crowns for the Empire of Man, which we're pretty sure is just going to be Dogs of War, but by a different name. Right. And then Slayer Host for the Dwarven Mountain Hold. Have you got any thoughts there? Oh, sorry, there is also monstrous mounts and incantations for the Mortuary Cult. So I'm curious what different mounts Tomb Kings will get.
Yeah, it's interesting as well that the Tomb Kings are not getting Are they getting an army of infamy?
No, they're getting some Lich Priest.
No additional
prayers.
Tomb King rules beyond the models.
Yeah, they're getting some prayers and mounts and new models, but they're not getting. Yeah, I'm not really sure. There's also the leaked battalion that someone posted on eBay. I wonder if it's still there. I wonder if.
Oh yeah, someone's tried to sell it on eBay, haven't they? What I do like as well.
Classic fell off a wagon.
Goodness sake, people are so stupid, aren't they? The armies of infamy, the one that's called the Renegade Crowns. Do you think this is a dig at the Renegade pack there from Games Workshop? They're like, no, we're going to make our own set of Renegade rules, but it's going to be for core armies.
Given how long it takes them to go to print with rules, I'm pretty sure that was probably written before
probably predates it.
Yeah, but that's a funny thought. Yeah, this is the leaked Army Core Set battalion, damaged box but sealed. £153.56, all best offer.
You should put an offer in with a £5 and see if they take it.
So the way eBay works, not to eBay explain to you, but there'll be a minimum on there. So
There
if I
will be a
put
minimum,
anything
yeah,
below like
I
120 quid, it'll just auto deny. And if I put 120 quid, it'll be accepted, or it might be accepted, and then I'll end up with some Tomb Kings that I didn't really want. With that said,
may not
I
even
was
exist.
I was on the fence because I want an army that plays into Cathay. Obviously, my goal is to win a 4th GT this year with a 4th different army. So I was between Tomb Kings and Beastmen, and I ended up going with Beastmen because I wanted to play them for the foray. So I was like, fuck it, we'll just commit and go for the army. The second I bought a load of stuff, new rules, new models for Tomb Kings. I knew the models were coming, but I wasn't really sure there'd be rules. But new monstrous mounts is interesting. That's made me go, oh shit, maybe I should have just looked at Tomb Kings instead. Like, this box looks to be the sort of thing that I would want to pick up, because it's got a load of the Tomb Guard, which are not the best core by any stretch of the imagination. They're very budget Grave Guard without the banner that makes them do amazing things, but they're still pretty decent. But then it comes with...
In Saffron, he's been doing well just running them as skeletons, and just skeletons with all the buffs do just as well as Tomb Guard. They're not as cool. Without, they're not as cool, no. But there's nothing to say you couldn't just use the Tomb Guard models and just have them as your skeletons.
Yeah, but I kind of want to do Tomb Guard. But anyway, it comes with a Necrosphinx / War Sphinx, which then obviously comes with the Tomb King. The first box I think we've seen, apart from the starter boxes, the Tomb Kings and Bretonians, that comes with a character in them. All of the previous boxes have just been, 2 boxes of infantry, or a box of infantry, a box of cavalry, and then something else, monster or war machine, something like that. Whereas this has got infantry, like 2 half boxes of infantry in the archers and the spearmen, 1 full box of infantry, and then a character / mount. So I guess it's maybe just that the character comes with that War Sphinx.
It's not one of the new characters, is it? Looking at the image.
It's an old sculpt. It's a really nice model, though. I do like it. It's a lot of detail on there.
Because I absolutely love the new Royal Heralds. The Royal Herald on the horse that's like rearing up. As a skeletal simp, that's just brilliant. I love it.
Skeletal simp. Go outside.
To get that
touch
amount
some grass.
It looks so dynamic for something that's obviously a bit dusty.
Yeah. Look at that horse. Look how good that horse looks compared to
the current ones.
The face looks a bit goofy. I will say I don't love the face, but yeah, really nice models here. I think it's probably realistic. Actually, it's just we're not used to those that we've had previously.
But look, it just looks like a real horse, doesn't it? Okay, it doesn't have any skin, but it looks like a real horse, and it's got a real pose, which I think I really like.
It looks like a real horse. Cool. It just hasn't got any skin, which is, what real horses look like.
That's the kind of insight that you come from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Monstrous Mounts would be really interesting.
Look at the proportions on this Lich Priest, though. Look at the humanoid proportions on this Lich Priest. That's slightly
He's a real
jarring.
boy.
Yeah, it looks great. I love the model, but you look at it compared to other Tomb King models that are all sort of like heroic scale, and this is realistic scale. And then also here with the real scale Royal Herald. But yeah, really, really cool. Looking forward to seeing what's in there. I believe we'll be seeing those rules sooner rather than later. Obviously, it goes up for pre-order next weekend, so I'm sure they'll make their way to the internet before then.
Yeah, I think so. I think Monstrous Mount for Tomb Kings, the 2 armies of infantry look going to be really cool. There's not a huge amount to go on, but the Monstrous Mounts for the Tomb Kings, I'm assuming they're going to put one on the Necropolis Knight Snake thing.
That would be incredible. I'd be so happy if they did.
Because you'd have like a burrowing character, and that'd be really nice. I'm assuming you'll also be able to put one on the War Sphinx. So I'm assuming again.
I mean, you can put characters on the War Sphinx currently. You just shouldn't. I got really excited about the War Sphinx.
I've never seen it. That's why
I got really excited about the War Sphinx because there's some aspects to it that are quite good. And then I was reminded that it doesn't fly and it doesn't have Swift Stride. You're like, oh, it just doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it just kind of bumbles around.
Shame. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. It's Initiative 1, which was the big thing I was getting excited about. So if you put a Tomb King with a great weapon on the back of it, you can strike at initiative 1 at the same time as it. Now, unfortunately, the models on top will still make their attacks first, but you can just use the hand weapons and hope to fail, and then you get to make like 9 or 10 attacks or whatever it is with the Tomb King and the creature itself, and you're more likely to do more in a challenge, yada yada. But yeah, character on Scorpion, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy work.
Yes.
I'd love
Good
to see
shout,
characters on monstrous mounts though, as just having a monstrous mount character that can run around solo 360 adds a lot of dynamism to an army, I think, and I'd be very, very keen to see that.
What's the chance? They haven't shown the model, so I'm assuming the chance is 0. But to have some kind of Abyssal Terror equivalent, Pegasus equivalent for
0.
Tomb King, 0.
Because
I know they haven't shown the model, but that would be really cool.
Even if they just put it on the snake things, like I'd be down for that. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
There was a reason that I wanted Tomb Kings on monstrous mounts, and I can't remember why. Oh, it's so you could add stuff to a Shabti. Because obviously monstrous infantry, monstrous cavalry have the clumsy rule, and they can't be joined by non-monstrous infantry because they just potentially get stepped on. That was it. I knew there was a reason. So I'd love to run around some Ushabti Death Stars, maybe melee Death Stars with characters.
Yeah, get some melee ones.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a BSB that can join them would be crazy, and then you get to do some cool stuff there. That'd be awesome. Am I expecting points to null army from Slayers? Yeah, that's a good point. Let's talk about the 2 Arcane Journals. Slayers. Yeah. Well, Slayers.
Is the whole army going to have that rule? That seems.
That'd be really funny if they did.
Mental.
If you get tabled, you give up 0 points.
Win.
That would be fun. That would be fun. What are you talking about, Sean?
Just go, right, I'm going to charge completely just. Although you could maybe change it where you're like, oh no, that would suck. No, that's cool. Give it to all of them and just let chaos reign and see what happens.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be incredibly silly. I'm not expecting that. I don't know. Like, they need some sort of resilience to firepower to...
Are they just going to get mown down?
Yeah, because they're just naked dwarves, and naked dwarves do not... like, if you compare them to, like, the Wolves of the Sea Marauder Berserks, they are T4. They are naked-ish, but they're pretty cheap, and they come with a 6 of ward against non-magical shooting, and they're okay. So I feel like you need something... But then the Slayers are going to be more expensive.
Cheap. Yeah, they're going to be more expensive.
Slayers are ridiculously expensive. So
you're going to want them on. You're going to want to at least have a 5-up save against shooting.
Yeah.
To make it worth it. Otherwise, you're just going to die to just average bow fire.
Yeah, not even being so. Obviously, Marauder Berserks are skirmish, which is a good protection against ballistic skill shooting. I don't think Slayers can be skirmish. I think they're stuck in open order in the current rules. Right. I'm assuming we're going to get a lot here. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they add. I kind of want a Slayer army that wears full plate. Obviously, that's not going to happen. The whole point is that they don't do that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I would be pretty jazzed to see some level of like very high defense against shooting, but then no defense in melee, and that would be like they're seeking the glorious death in combat. That would be
works,
cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you'll really struggle to gun me down, but when we're in combat, yes, I hit really hard, but I am the definition of glass cannon. I think that would be cool. Exactly. Kind of like an anti-wood elf.
Way of crossing the board very quickly, which doesn't feel very dwarfy.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. Dwarves, nature's sprinters, famously fast over short distances.
Dangerous over short
Indeed.
distances.
Renegade crowns as well. I don't know what's coming with this. I do not have any information on this. But
you suggested Dogs of War, but I feel like, I mean, Games Workshop are cognizant of the fact that Dogs of War was a thing and quite famous. Surely they would just call it Dogs of War. If that's what they were making.
I think, given that this is an Arcane Journal for Empire, it's a way of doing Dogs of War without releasing them as their own army, because Dogs of War were their own faction. So this way, they're satisfying the Dogs of War hype in a way, I think, but in a way without having to do too much commitment. So, like, given that it's not coming with any kits, that's not a great sign for what we're bringing. Like, I wonder if they're going to next week just be like, hey, we're not bringing out any kits this week, but like in a month's time or something, we're going to bring back these 3 Regiment of Renown. Maybe there's like a pikeman kit or something like that. That would be very cool. But I'm interested to see what they do. It would be,
because I think we've essentially been. This is the last release this year, basically, isn't it? There's no plans after
I believe
this.
so. Yes, this is likely to be the last release. Remy says, "What do you think Empire would need to become top dog? Balloons."
That'll do it.
Thank you, Anthony. Slayers can borrow some White Lion capes. Yeah. Oh man, I don't want to start ranting, but White Lions not having, like, the actual White Lions themselves, the lions, not the elves, not having any armor save, even an armor save against shooting, drives me nuts. Gets on my nerves. Feels wrong. It's very rude. Very rude.
Glorious things getting cut down.
Absolutely. I think we've had quite a few podcast questions. So should we get onto those?
Let's do that. We have this. I'm very proud of everybody this week. Can I say it? Our lovely VIP listeners, they have given us some proper questions this week. This isn't just all mad shit. There's actual questions in here, so we may be able to give interesting information to questions people actually want to answer. So there we go.
Yeah. You ruined it by pointing out that people were doing a good job, which,
and then it went, yeah, that was foolish. I'll admit on my behalf that was poorly judged.
Yeah, it's all right. I've also made the same mistake. I try not to do that now. Starting off with Big Ives says, "Are we about to get Dota style esports commentary for big events in the future?" I've alluded to it. There is plans to cover the teams event, which now has sold out. I believe you sold the last team ticket for your event.
The last tickets for Saffron Fantasy Slam, 1st, 2nd November, have sold out.
So my plan is to cover that one with live stream coverage. That will be great. If I come down sick before that event, I'm going to, I don't know, scream into the void. But the problem is, I don't think Warhammer's a great spectator sport. You need to be interested by the commentators, because it's basically a broadcast day is going to be like 10 and a half hours. That rules you out, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah, it's going to be like 10 and a half hours, basically, of streaming. So, yeah, it's not a lot necessarily happens in the games. It's a lot mostly happens in terms of what you manage to bring to the broadcast. So we'll see how that one goes.
But looking forward to trying it, and a big
Absolutely.
thank you to Ian for supporting us
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah. Incredibly kind. Incredibly kind.
Very nice. The game is a bit slow for Dota style, so I haven't played Dota for probably 6 years, but I still like watching the videos because they're so exciting. But I think that's because the game really comes to a crescendo. And it means that as the commentators get more and more excited, same as football, when someone's close to scoring or whatever, the commentators start really building that kind of crescendo up. Difficult to do that with Warhammer because you've been doing that for 2 hours. So it just doesn't have that instant buzz, does it?
We've found something else to disagree on. I'm a League player.
You're a League of Legends player, aren't you? Yeah, I thought you were. Fucking hell.
Yeah. I enjoy watching League games because I can watch an entire series in one Dota game. Because I've got things to do. I'm an adult. I've got, things to do with my time. I can't be watching, 3-hour long games, he said, which is not actually accurate, but very funny.
45 minutes of the game.
Ed needs to bring ludicrous Brazilian football broadcast enthusiasm to the table. To that, I say, Corralho.
Every time someone rolls a 6.
Yeah.
Go!
I'll get the Vuvuzela out.
I think that's South African.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're in a position where, at least with 40k, a lot of big events being regularly streamed now. So any given weekend, you can turn a stream on and watch a 40k game.
Yeah.
So that's already happening. So I don't think Old World will be far behind that, especially once the Saffron Slam kicks it off with your good self in November. And that'll be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. It's great fun to watch for those that like it, and be a great addition to the channel, I think.
Lovely. Goldfire says, how do you feel about Denmark coming fourth, even though they were the only team to go 4-1, beating number 2 and only losing to the winners? Obviously, this is how they should be at this event since the rules were clear, but do you think they should be changed for next year? Now, this is a really good question, and I think I have some level of hypocrisy here, a little bit of cognitive dissonance, because for teams, I don't mind that it's 20-0 or like 160-0. Not that you could actually get the full, you're capped at max 100 and minimum 60. So I don't know why I don't mind it for teams. Maybe because there's a lot more games played. So over the course of the tournament, you had 40 games played, so you've got a much more accurate level. But I don't mind it for teams, but I hate it for singles. And that feels like, to me, I'm being inconsistent. So I don't know why I don't mind one, but I'm okay with the other one. What are your thoughts?
I am consistent in my absolute hatred for this system.
Sure.
So we did, a few weeks ago, we did a whole episode on this. So I would encourage everyone to go back and watch that, because we went through all different scoring systems. It was a very nerdy episode, but I quite enjoyed it. If I was Denmark, and exactly as the question says, they knew it going in, so the fine. Rules were clear in advance. You know that's going on. Sure. But if I was Denmark, even with that being said, I would be absolutely gutted. You have come to biggest international event in the world. You have beaten every single team that you've played against, with the exception of the team that went on to win the event in England, and you've not even podiumed. And no other team beat all of their opponents except for England. No other team achieved that. So you've done everything you can as Team Denmark to win all of your games and lose a close one to England. And you don't even get a podium. I would be absolutely gutted. And I think that's such a feels bad moment that, as you say, if that happens in a singles event, I could quite understand why you would be a bit annoyed about that. And again, as I said in the episode, we're going back for much more detail, but it's a system that incentivizes you to absolutely crush your opponents. And I don't think that's something we want to incentivize. I want to see games being won in a way that is as sportive and sporting as possible. I'm not saying that anyone was being unsporting at all.
Although at the international events, that is kind of the place for that level of play, to be entirely fair.
But it doesn't. Everything it incentivizes is not what you necessarily want to see, especially in a singles environment. And I don't know what the pros are that outweigh that feels bad element to it and the encouragement to crush everybody, crush their dreams. I don't like it. That's passionately against it.
Yeah, like I say, I'm aware that I think I've got some cognitive dissonance there for some reason. I'm not really sure why I feel differently about it in a Teams format as opposed to regular. But yeah, thank you for covering that one, because you kind of touched on all the points that we went over a couple of episodes ago. So good to have the refresher there. Ed says, now that Magic the Gathering is embraced outside IP, and then he asks a couple of silly questions about the Powerpuff Girls and My Little Pony for Warhammer, which obviously isn't going to happen. But yeah, fuck Wizards of the Coast. I got into Magic about 3 years ago now. I think it was 3 years ago, and it was just after the Lord of the Rings set, and that was kind of when they went, oh, we can make so much money from this, we should be doing this more frequently. And now about half their releases are not within universe, they're outside of universe. So it's like, if for Old World 50% of releases weren't like high elves or dark elves, it was like being like, oh, here is another brand, here is Spider-Man in the Old World, right. Which sounds stupid, but that's what they've just done for Magic. So yeah, that is a sure way to make me lose all interest in your game by doing that bullshit. Yeah.
I have nothing to add to that. I know nothing about Magic, but yes.
Yeah. Steve says, when you're out and about painting roundabouts and shouting at hotels, how do you pronounce England as you shout it? Is it Ingerland or Ingerland with a U R or a G? Yeah, England.
England. It's coming home, mate. It's coming home.
Yeah, this is a no hate stream, Steve. How dare you? Well, hate against Gammon's probably allowed.
Hate against 20-0 scoring system.
Ed says, I'm going to Warhammer World on Saturday because I got an incredible deal on an Imperial Guard army. What should I most be looking forward to while I'm there? I said you should come and say hi because I'm at the TSN Arena. And then he said, can we keep it to questions in this channel, please? What a dickhead. Actual answer.
A little bit of power.
Actual answer. If you have time, I'd really recommend going around the event,
Museum.
not the event hall. Yes, the museum.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But just having a wander, picking up things that you only would be able to buy online and also might be out of stock online. All of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the museum's great though. I really like it. I probably wouldn't pay to do it twice, but having done it once was cool. And you get free entry with event tickets.
I go probably once or twice a year to Warhammer World, and they change it basically every couple of months. So you can go multiple times and you will see something different. There'll be some displays that are exactly the same, but you can go once or twice a year and you'll see something different every single time you go. And I just kind of like dribble over the models anyway, but it's
But
very well
that's
doing.
nothing to do with how good they are. That's just your mental condition.
But I think Ed, I would set yourself at least maybe 2 hours to do it. Give yourself a chance to go round. Don't rush round. Go, because there's all the displays, all of the dioramas. They're so detailed that you can look at one individual display case for 20 minutes and you'll see 10 different things, and you keep seeing new things, more angles you look at it at. So give yourself a really good chunk of time to go round and make the
Takes
most.
you 20 minutes to see 10 things.
Yeah.
You're not beating the allegations. It's a good place. I don't know that I would set aside 2 hours for the museum. You could probably do all of Warhammer World in 2 hours, but it is very cool. And make sure that you've got time to look at all of the bits that you want to. Callum says, when will Team England address the bullying accusations? Can't a Scotsman wear Crocs on a boat in peace? So I don't know about this.
Into UK abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, congratulations to Scotland for not coming last. Out of the UK, big ups there. But I'd say normally, obviously, we are very against bullying. But I can't say Callum deserves it because he's been really nice to me this stream. You know what? I'm sorry, Callum. I'm sorry that this happened to you, and I hope you feel better now. There we go.
But also, England won. England.
Don't prove Steve right that you shout at hotels and paint on roundabouts. Don't fall for it. Why don't all players enjoy the game from the original dev viewpoint and embrace narrative play? That's a very good, the sort of question that you ask to try and get streamers wound up. If you took that as a genuine question, that would be very easy to be annoyed by. But yeah, no, people get to play the game the way that they like, and I never shit on anyone for playing narratively. All I ask is that they don't then go on Facebook and bash me despite having played one game this decade.
Yeah, I think as well, regardless of how narrative you want to play the game, a lot of games are played as pickup games at clubs, aren't they? For example, I would suggest the majority of games that are being played in Saffron World and Evolved World at the moment are at our club.
That's not true, because you run an event every other month. So just by sheer weight of numbers,
okay.
most frequently games are played.
Majority of gamers playing GTs. If you ignore the fact that I have that quirk of also hosting an event, I would have thought the majority of games have been played at a club, which means your games need some kind of framework to operate in. And I'm not sure that narrative, because that is such a subjective thing, works for a pickup game framework. I think there's always going to need to be a need for a system that allows you to balance two armies against each other, so that two people who do not know each other or don't know each other well can rock up to a club, put 2,000 point armies on the table, and have an expectation that's going to be a roughly fun experience. Proper narrative play takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of planning, and that doesn't necessarily work for what I would have thought are the majority of old world games being played, regardless of events. If you take events out of the picture, so I think it's interesting, and I'm interested I would be really interested to sit down with some of the devs and find out, was that their viewpoint? Was that what they thought they were building? They were building a narrative system that was never going to be played competitively. And then they were effectively sort of pressured into building a match play format that worked within a rule set that they didn't write for match play. I'd be really, really interested to get an honest view from them on that. I know they obviously work for Games Workshop, so whether they'd ever be able to come out and do that, I doubt it. But it would be really interesting to know that, whether that was how they designed the game and then they sort of fit match play around it, or they always had match play in their minds when they were creating it. You can tell from some of the balance decisions maybe they didn't, but then from others that you can. So it's tricky. So I'd be interested. And as you say, Ed, you can't really yuck anyone else's yum, can you?
Ideally, you shouldn't. Anyway, that would be ideal if people didn't.
Not fair, so that's how I'm getting my narrative, which I really enjoy. But yeah, I love old Roth aesthetics, really.
For Ed, when you're winning a tournament or event with a Shade Death Star, thanks. Probably not, because it ain't good. Which is a shame. It's a fun idea, but there's a lot of skirmishes just get absolutely ruined now if they get touched. So if you take a big unit, you better not get accidentally touched, and yeah, that's just going to happen. Also, they don't have. So ideally, they would have repeater handbows that were strength user instead of strength 3, which obviously makes no sense. But that way, Demonology could buff their strength and their AP, and that would make them maybe worth looking at. They still wouldn't be worth looking at, but alas, shall not be. Then we've got Strife as a hobby with a creative aspect and a strong aesthetic built by a team of talented artists. What do you think about Warhammer content creators using AI, artwork, or prompts? This is a contentious issue in my bubble, but does it actually bother you? It's not something I do personally. It's difficult, right? Thumbnails are it basically comes down to thumbnails, I think, realistically. Thumbnails are a pain in the ass to do, and if someone is going to use AI to do them, it's not something that I do for myself, but I'm not gonna stand here and shit on someone that does. What I'm doing with creating my thumbnails is not art, and creating AI art isn't art either, in my opinion. So I don't necessarily see that as a problem. Then there's the issue around the way that AI creates art in scraping and not crediting other artists, which is its own thing, and the whole issues with the power consumption used for creating AI stuff. I don't use AI. I'm not a fan of it personally, but I'm not here to shit on people.
Yeah,
the world's moving in ways that I don't necessarily agree with. That's not something that I'm gonna plant my flag in the ground and die on the hill of, I think, personally.
No, it's tricky. I've just started using AI more at work. Just obviously the government are pushing it quite a lot now and trying to make us more efficient and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a little bit of a late adopter. I'm finding it incredibly useful at work for a number of different scenarios, especially anything administrative that would previously take time. AI can do a lot of it for me already to a decent standard and save me hours of time, which is, I've already found that in the first couple of weeks I've been using it. And I have play a lot of D&D as well, because I'm a massive nerd. And we have used AI art in the loosest sense of the word, to come up, for when I'm running a campaign, come up with like character designs, for example, or images of taverns and things like that I've used in D&D sessions. So I find it incredibly useful for that. And obviously for me as a DM, I haven't got money to put into D&D, so it's completely free. I wouldn't be able to afford an artist to come and do a load of custom character designs for me. So would I either find those images online just from like a Google search, or get ones that match exactly what I want. And any D&D money that I do have goes on minis and terrain and that sort of thing. But then when it comes to my business where there is money available, I use artists for my work. So Scrivo designed my logos, so he's done those for me. So I paid him for that, obviously. The guy that makes all my trophies, he's done the design work himself for the base of the trophies and things like that. So again, I pay him for that. Yeah. And I have the local guy in the printing shop does my banner designs for me. So again, I'm paying for that. But all of that starts to add up. Now, I'm obviously running a business, so that's something that I just put a cost against the business and it comes off the profit from an event. But it's not cheap. By the time we've done all of that, you're starting to spend quite a lot of money on artists doing what I find is really great work. And actually, I think they add value to my events. Like those trophies are particularly really, really cool. I get to do really nice designs for my trophies. People love them. And I think that's really important. My logo, Scribbo's done an amazing job on that. And I'm really happy with it. And I have no intention of changing it anytime soon. And the same with the banners as well. Actually, they come out really nicely. They represent my event very well. And they look quite professional. So I could probably have done all those 3 of those things through AI, but it actually is quite nice, especially for the trophies and the banners, to choose local creators to do stuff for me. And I'm not giving them thousands. Like these things aren't millions of pounds, but there's at least there. But I can sort of understand if you are currently an artist, if you are Scrivo, if you are the guy that makes my trophies, I can see why you'd be pretty concerned right now about the rise of AI, because it is, you get so much for free. And it'd be the same way that I'd be concerned if I was in an administrative role, for example, now. But some of the tasks that AI is able to do for me at work now, that previously I'd either have to do myself and spend hours on, or people more senior than me would have assistants or things like that to do, that actually AI can just bash out in 5 minutes. And this is probably a wider conversation because it's probably going to bring the biggest shift in working patterns in our generation anyway, or if not multiple generations. And it's probably all, as you say, coming at a time when the world isn't exactly feeling particularly stable right now. So it's a bit of a shake-up in a slightly weird world, a weird environment. So it's a really great question. It's really tricky. But that was probably a deeper answer than you were expecting. But no,
that was a good answer. Yeah. It's funny though when you get these sorts of questions as well, and I don't mind people asking, but it's always funny because you're like, hey, 2 people who talk about Warhammer with some level of knowledge. What do you think about area of discussion outside of your speciality? Do you have a fully fleshed out opinion on this? If you do, you probably shouldn't. Like if someone asked me about politics, I'm left leaning. But you shouldn't go to me for like knowledge about politics. I'm not knowledgeable about politics. Like it would be irresponsible for me to advise you politically because it's not something that I know about. To be fair, that question from Rife, I was on the train home thinking about that, so I'd wrten some notes from what I just done. Sorry, that wasn't to generate your answer. Your answer was well
no, absolutely not. I mean, it's just sometimes with these, as you say, these questions that are really good questions that they need a bit of thought. So
sure.
I try and, if the ones that have come in like at least a day in advance, like all the ones after this I haven't seen, so I'm just going to be answering on the fly. But at least those ones, if someone's genuinely wants an answer from us, I think it's good to prepare for that and try and actually think about giving a sensible answer that doesn't land us in shit or give us just a complete load of rubbish.
Sure.
Depending on what you think that answer was like, really. But no, I like it.
Cool. Next up, when is Ed going to get his own theme music intro he can play while he sorts out his camera issues every few streams? So there's a streamer called Frost Prime who plays a game called Slay the Spire that I watch occasionally. And he commissioned some intro music that I love. I'm going to play a snippet of it, and I'd love to have something in a similar sort of vein. He commissioned Saturday morning breakfast cartoon style music, so I'm just going to play like the first 5 or 10 seconds so it doesn't like get demonetized. But this is the intro. He's an arsonist on a noble quest and it just goes into memes about the stream. So if you want to find it, just search Frost Prime theme song. It's 36 seconds. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's that vibe where it's just a, like very punchy, very Saturday morning breakfast cartoon. I'd love to do something like that. I think it costs about 500 or 600 quid to get someone proper to do that sort of thing. So it's not in the budget at the moment, but it is something I would love to do. I'm planning on doing, content creation a long time. The goal is to continue to do this and continue to do coaching, and down the line, just keep expanding and having a more professional setup as I go, and that's something I'd love to add to it. So yeah, it is something that I've thought about very seriously. I'd love to commission the same guy because the work that he's done is incredible.
Yeah.
Amy says, what sort of value do you place on Warband and Horde, or having Skirmish for defense in the Brave New World? Skirmish is incredible. I love Skirmish. Just being able to touch a wood, be long range, be Skirmish, suddenly ballistic skill shooting's -3 to hit you. Incredible. Really love
Happy
that.
days.
Warband's fine. I don't love Warband on its own. Warband on its own is only, in my opinion, really good on very mobile units that want to be getting into combat. Warband and Horde, that's where I go, hell yeah. Give me some of that. Big fan. But then it obviously comes in, first charge completely ruins your day. So you got to play around it. But yeah, I like all three of those. I'd go Skirmish, then Warband and Horde, then Warband is probably my preference.
Yep, agree with that.
Lovely, lovely stuff. Jordan just asked a question about banning Cathay. Haha, very funny.
They're not banned from Saffron World and events.
Callum says, did you know preparation is good for team events? Well, funny you should say that. Yes, it's pretty important. It does make a big difference. Goldfire says, this one is about the potential of streaming games or at least make battle reports of top games. With the weekend of both WTC and LGT, I feel WTC has got far more attention than LGT. While teams are probably just as fun to play and prepare for, maybe even more fun, I would think that they are less fun to watch. The entire fun of pairings are hard to capture. Quite a few of the matches are games where one tries to lose as little as possible. If we want the old world to be a spectated game, should we instead, or as well, try and promote single-player events to the same degree? A world championship for single games. Maybe the game isn't balanced for this, probably ain't. But is there a way to make it happen? Not the balance, but the event, and how would you have it run?
I'd suggest, I think Teams is better to watch, depending on how you do it. But if you consider effectively you're going to be streaming one game, maybe two games, maybe three games, depending on how complex a setup you've got. But it feels like with a Teams stream, you could have something on the stream that's sort of tracking all of the games, so you can see the relative position of the two teams over the course of the 3-hour stream. And from a commentary perspective, it gives you other things to talk about when potentially the game that's currently on the camera is in a state of downtime or something like that. You can say, oh, actually, well, their Cathay player has just lost their balloon to the Empire's cannon or whatever. And like you can kind of start chucking stuff in that has a kind of wider influence. And then when you're thinking about what people are tuning in to watch, are you more likely to see someone take the WTC tuning in to watch England play rather than someone tuning in to watch Richie play, for example? No, I'm not casting shade on him at all, but are you going to get more interest, more excitement by people watching their country play or their team play compared to an individual?
Yeah. The real answer is that I think, unfortunately, if we're talking outside of a very narrow scope of people who want to watch things competitively, Warhammer is not a great spectator sport. It's not American football, it's not football, it's not rugby, it's not tennis, it's not any of those. It's not an e-sport, it's not Dota, it's not League. You know what it is? You know, it could be the WWE. That's probably the angle. If you want to make the most compelling broadcast, kind of dispense with the competitive side of things and go WWE. Yeah. That's the answer.
That works.
Yep, cool. Then Goldfire puts a picture of Eddie Hall, or 9 pictures of Eddie Hall, and asks, which Eddie are you? I feel like I'm cheeky Eddie today. I'm not going to post the picture. If you want to see that, you can become a channel member of Longbeard tier or above and go to the VIP section, the Close Order podcast question section. You can see the picture. That's not worth your money at all. You could just Google, which Eddie are you today, and you'll see the same picture. But,
I'm hyped, Eddie, because Saffron teams are sold out, and I love a sold out event. It's very exciting. Good buzz. Looking forward to it.
Very nice, very nice. You and him have opposite hairstyles. I'm just noticing. His is all in the middle.
He has hair in the middle and none on the
outside. Maybe you've got some sort of brand deal that you can work out between the two of you and just combine the two.
We have opposite arm styles as well, in that his are massive and mine aren't.
Well, there we go. There we go. I bet you can probably run for longer than him, you know.
Probably, yeah. Although he might just get through it just through sheer belligerence.
Honestly, maybe, yeah.
Goes a long way in running.
Mobile Suit Woe says, I have a question. Sub emotes for the YouTube chat. Not a bad shout. I'll have to look into that if I remember.
I don't know what sub emote is, but yeah, let's do it.
Emotes for subs. It's pretty complex. Sure. You're so old. All right, Unc, let's get you to the care home.
I
Ed says,
I still just listen to everything in podcast, so I never actually listen to any of these streams because you don't release them on Apple Podcasts.
Don't
so-
bring that up. Don't bring that up. If you have to if you had to pick a meta forever, would it be Gunline, Melee, or Big Monster Mash, and why? I think if I had to
Melee.
yeah, I think so, because
It's the most Warhammer, isn't it?
yeah, but also, if that's the meta, I'm hoping that you can still bring anti-meta stuff and just like find ways around it. So if it's a lot of melee, I can find some sort of fast shooting list that is maybe less effective. So like, for example, the Skaven poison shooting list, where, you know, I was marching 24 inches and then throwing all my poison stars, and that was really funny. And that works well into a melee meta where your opponent's quite, you know, doesn't have 360-degree line of sight and stuff like that. So I think that has the most Warhammer Fantasy appeal, but then also the most like options to just be like, hey, we can also do this thing as well. Big Monster Mash, I like thematically, but you can kind of just play Age of Sigmar if you want to do that, I think.
Yeah, and gun lines you can get from 40k if that's really what you want.
Yeah, gunlines can get in the fucking bin. That's what they can do.
In any game, even 40k, no one likes gun lines.
Steck says, can you just add question marks to regular sentences and make them questions? No, you can't. That's not how that works.
Mobile Suit Woe disagrees with you.
Yeah, well, he would. And then Ed says, there's a rumour that Ed hates all legacy factions and uses influence in Nottingham to have them removed from the first edition of the Old World. Can I get an official comment on this? I wish I had any level of influence. That'd be amazing. I'd be on board with that. I'll be a bit benevolent dictator. I'll rule with I'll be kind but firm. Which faction should we take out? What should we get rid of? Like, we'll not say Cathay. That's the obvious one. We'll
no
just
one
fix
likes
Cathay.
Cathay, do they? Let's be honest.
I quite enjoy playing them. What would be better? No, we'll get rid of. See, all of the ones that I'm thinking, I don't want to get rid of Tomb Kings because they were bad for so long that people are pretty hyped to have skeletons.
Ogres. Not many people play
They're not
ogres.
real. They don't exist.
They're not real. According to the Cathay Arcane Journal,
well, if my
it's
ability,
just this mysterious zone.
if my
in some
ability is to make things legacy, they're already, you know, there, so that doesn't work. We'll bring Skaven back specifically, and we'll get rid of
Dark Elves.
also not a real faction. You do not understand this game. One of the elves, we don't need 3 of them. We don't have 3 of them. We've only got 2 of them.
Old elves, then.
No, fuck off. Why are you so elf racist? It's disgraceful. Anyway, I think we've pretty much covered everything.